The sky over New Caledon shimmered in a palette no artist could capture. Emerald streaks danced with silver, reflecting in the glass towers that stretched like fingers into the heavens. People paused, staring upward, mesmerized. It had been a quiet day, ordinary even by the extraordinary standards of the third millennium. Peace had reigned for 3,000 years, unbroken, unchallenged. Humanity had tamed nature, colonized planets, and built empires of light and knowledge, yet it had never forgotten its history. And now that serenity was about to be tested. At precisely 14:03 Earth Standard Time, the first signal came. A hum at first, almost musical, threading through every communications array across the system. Then a voice, a strange cadence that vibrated not just in the ears but deep in the chest. Humans, you have thrived too long. Prepare. In New Caledon's Grand Observatory, Alaric Vale, the chief diplomatic liaison for the United Earth Coalition, froze mid-sip of his evening tea. A man of 42 with silver flecks in his hair and eyes that held a lifetime of battles. Most fought in courtrooms, some in the quiet debates of the stars. He did not flinch often. But the sheer certainty in that voice made his pulse spike. Beside him, Lyra Denholm, a young communications prodigy of 24, muttered under her breath, It's a declaration. They're calling for war." Alaric's hand tightened around the cup. "Or a test," he said cautiously. But deep down he feared the first interpretation was closer to truth. After 3,000 years of peace, humanity had never faced anything remotely like this. The galaxy, once hostile, had long learned the price of challenging Earth's unity. And yet the voice, alien and deliberate, was imbued with confidence, arrogance, and something darker. Across the globe, the reaction was instantaneous. Markets stuttered but did not crash. Citizens paused but did not panic. Humanity, trained through millennia of survival, had built a collective nerve that few could comprehend. And yet, beneath that calm, an undercurrent of excitement surged. In a penthouse overlooking the illuminated skyline, Commander Elias Merrick leaned against the steel railing, scanning the sky. He had led thousands of battles in the outer colonies, none of which compared to this. No enemy could be anticipated with data alone, and yet he smiled almost cruelly. "Finally," he whispered. "Finally, someone thinks we can be threatened." On Mars, in the red deserts near Olympus Mons, the first mobilization alerts blinked across the neural networks of the planetary defense grid. Civilian and military alike, people braced not in fear but in anticipation. Humanity had not forgotten its savage ingenuity, its relentless will to survive, and when cornered, humans were not merely fighters, they were storms. The alien voice repeated itself, this time from satellites orbiting every habitable planet, its resonance almost poetic. "Prepare," and yet, laughter rippled through Earth's command centers. Small at first, tentative, then louder, bolder. It was a laughter born not of ignorance but of certainty. Humanity had faced threats before, plagues, wars, cosmic catastrophes, and had emerged stronger every time. Alaric turned to Lyra, his expression unreadable.
"Do you hear them?"
He asked. "Yes," she said. Her fingers hovered over the console.
"And yet—"
"Somehow I think they don't understand. Humanity doesn't negotiate fear." Elias, still on his Martian balcony, let out a full laugh that echoed off the cliffs. "Let them come," he said. "They've never seen us in full bloom." And in that moment, across light years, across silent voids, across a universe that had watched humanity for centuries, a single truth emerged. The galaxy had made a grave miscalculation. For Earth was not merely a planet. It was a crucible. It was a story forged in fire and shadow, and it was about to teach the cosmos what it truly meant to laugh at the impossible. The first transmission ended, but the war it promised had already begun in the minds of every human who heard it. And as the twin moons of New Caledon rose in silent witness, humanity smiled. Not with fear, not with hesitation, but with the audacity that had carried them from the ashes of their own history to the stars themselves. For 3 millennia, humanity had slept beneath the stars, confident, serene, untouchable. The alien declaration shattered that illusion. Yet paradoxically, the world did not panic. Instead, it moved with a precision and grace that came from centuries of survival and cooperation. In New Caledon's Grand Observatory, Alaric Vale paced in measured steps, He was a man of strategy, of patience, but tonight his nerves danced beneath the surface. He watched the skies and the streams of incoming data, each alien pulse dissected and catalogued. Still, there was no fear in his eyes, only anticipation. Lyra Denholm sat at her console, her fingers moving like liquid, decoding frequencies and patterns. "They're not just speaking," she said, her voice low, tinged with awe. "They're mapping us. Our defenses, our communication patterns, even our thought signatures. They want to understand before they strike." Alaric nodded. "They've never encountered a species like ours. That's our advantage." Across the Martian colonies, Commander Elias Merrick convened his team in the central command hub, a circular room bathed in the red glow of the planet's sun through massive domes. "We've faced every danger imaginable," he said, voice echoing. "Plagues, solar flares, rogue AI. But we've never faced a true cosmic adversary, and that's exactly why they've misjudged us." His lieutenants exchanged glances, some skeptical, some inspired, but the room vibrated with the same human certainty. Humanity did not yield. Humanity adapted. Humanity triumphed. On Luna, children watched the auroras ripple across the thin sky while parents whispered warnings of distant threats. Yet even in the shadow of uncertainty, laughter persisted. Humans had a peculiar habit of laughing in the face of danger. It was not recklessness, it was recognition of what they had endured and overcome. Meanwhile, across Earth's communication grids, the alien presence broadcast more than threats. It projected images of vast fleets, colossal weapons, and stars consumed in fire. And humanity laughed again. The images were terrifying, but they revealed assumptions about human fragility that were fatally flawed. Alaric leaned back in his chair, staring at a simulation. "They think fear is universal," he said softly. "It isn't, not for us." Lyra raised an eyebrow. "And yet, should we underestimate them?" He smiled faintly, almost grimly. "No, but neither should we overestimate them. Humans thrive in the impossible. Always have. Always will." Thousands of kilometers away on the floating platforms above Europa's oceans, scientists and engineers worked with feverish intensity. They were not preparing for surrender. They were preparing for artistry and defense. Ships were redesigned, weapons refined, communication arrays restructured. Every detail mattered, every second counted. And beneath it all, a quiet human truth emerged. While the aliens projected fear and dominance, humanity had spent millennia building hope into resilience. They did not need prophecy. Prophecy needed them. Elias stared at a holographic map of the galaxy, tracing the likely routes of an alien fleet. "They don't know our tactics. They assume linear thinking. They assume compliance with the predictable." He shook his head, a smile tugging at his lips. "We will show them chaos. We will show them ingenuity. We will show them humanity." In New Caledon, as night descended, the twin moons reflected off the silver towers, creating illusions of paths where none existed. Alaric and Lyra stepped onto the observatory balcony, breathing in the crisp, calm air. For a moment, the world felt untouched, serene, almost sacred. "You feel it too, don't you?" Lyra whispered. Alaric nodded, looking at the stars. "The storm is coming. But for the first time in centuries, we aren't afraid. We are alive." And across planets, colonies, and orbital stations, humans began to prepare, not with dread, but with pride. For millennia of peace had not weakened them. If anything, it had strengthened the bond between human hearts, human minds, and human courage. The alien signal repeated once more, sharp and unwavering. "Prepare." Humans smiled, not because they underestimated the threat, not because they were naive, but because they understood a truth no alien could ever grasp. Humanity's strength was not in weapons or numbers or technology. It was in spirit. And spirit cannot be calculated, cannot be predicted, cannot be conquered. The first wave of alien scouts would arrive within days. But humanity had already made its choice. It would not bow. It would not tremble. It would rise. And when the aliens arrived, they would see not a species afraid, but a species alive, brilliant, and unstoppable. The storm was coming, and humanity welcomed it. The day the scouts arrived, the sky tore open like a wound. At first, they were distant pinpricks of light, too far to distinguish. But within hours, massive vessels shimmered into view, sleek, black, almost liquid in form, reflecting the suns of multiple systems. The galaxy had never seen anything like them, and yet, humanity did not flinch. Commander Elias Merrick stood atop the Martian command spire, his coat fluttering in the artificial wind of the observation dome. Beside him, Lieutenant Cale Taryn, a veteran of the Outer Colony's skirmishes, checked his instruments. "They're enormous," Cale whispered, awe and apprehension blending in his voice. Elias turned to him, lips curling in a subtle, defiant smile. "Size isn't everything. They may be big, but they lack understanding. They don't know us. Not truly." Across New Caledonia, Alaric Vale coordinated humanity's first formal communication with the approaching fleet. Lyra Denholm's hands danced over her console, sending pulses of encoded signals. Greetings, but not submissive ones. Warnings, but not threats. Humans had learned that respect could be communicated in ways far beyond words. The aliens responded. Their voice was everywhere, booming across communications, yet impossible to locate. "You are defiant. You do not fear. This is interesting." The words carried a weight, a subtle undercurrent of curiosity and challenge. Humanity had faced tyrants, invaders, and disasters, but it had never been confronted by a species whose very existence seemed to warp space around it. On Europa's floating research hubs, scientists monitored alien ship movements. Drones skittered across icy oceans, feeding live visuals into command networks. "They're probing," said Dr. Selene Kaur, her voice calm but electric with anticipation. "Their formations aren't random, they're testing our reactions, mapping our adaptability." And humanity adapted. The first probes approached Earth's orbital defenses. Laser arrays hummed, shielding fields activated, and magnetic disruptors danced with precise choreography. Yet humanity did not strike, not yet. The alien scouts tested, poked, and prodded, unaware that every maneuver was observed, recorded, and analyzed by the humans. Elias watched through his command scope as the alien vessels glided like shadows across the void. "They expect fear," he murmured. "They expect hesitation. They will learn patience as humans' ally, not surrender." And then it happened. A probe breached the outer defenses near Mars. It glowed with an unnatural light, almost hypnotic. Sensors indicated it could obliterate entire colonies if mishandled. But humanity reacted not with panic, but with precision. Automated interceptors surrounded it, forcing the alien technology into an involuntary dance. In the control room, Alaric Vale exhaled slowly. "They underestimate creativity," he said. "They think power alone can dictate outcomes. They've never met a species that thrives in improvisation." Lyra grinned. "Let's show them why humanity survived 3 millennia of peace. We don't rely on fear. We rely on ingenuity. With a combination of electromagnetic pulses, adaptive nanotech nets, and carefully timed maneuvers, the probe was neutralized, intact, not destroyed. Humanity had chosen to learn, to understand, to take knowledge even from their adversaries." Elias's laughter filled the Martian command dome. "They think this is war. We think it's a lesson, and it was more than a lesson, it was a message. A message to every corner of the galaxy. Humans were not merely survivors. Humans were creators, adapters, and fighters of spirit and mind." The alien voice returned, calm, almost amused. "Impressive. Yet, how long can defiance last?" Alaric smiled faintly. "As long as it must. Defiance is not a choice, it's our nature." That night, across planets, colonies, and orbital stations, humans watched the sky with a mixture of awe and determination. The aliens had arrived, the first sparks of conflict had ignited, yet humanity's pulse did not falter. Instead, it strengthened. On the surface of New Caledonia, children pointed at the sky, imagining stories of distant worlds. Parents whispered reassurances. Soldiers, scientists, diplomats all felt the same deep certainty. Humanity would endure. Humanity would adapt. Humanity would rise. The alien scouts hovered closer, their presence immense and suffocating. Yet the humans waited, calm and unyielding. And in that silence, a single truth resonated across every mind and heart. The galaxy had underestimated a species that had conquered itself, tamed countless worlds, and built civilizations of light and hope. When the first true battle arrived, it would not merely be about weapons or ships. It would be about spirit, and humanity's spirit had never been stronger. The void above Mars became a canvas of light and shadow. a place where human ingenuity would meet alien might. The first clash was not a battle of mere weapons, it was a battle of wits, of instinct, of the raw, unyielding will to survive. Commander Elias Merrick stood on the observation deck of the Martian command spire, hands clenched behind his back. His eyes traced the alien fleet as it descended in precise, terrifying formations. Ships shimmered with an impossible blackness, their surfaces shifting as if alive. Sensors predicted destruction within minutes. Predictions humans ignored. "Status," Elias barked. Lieutenant Cale Terran's fingers flew over the console. Probes neutralized. Shields stable. Countermeasures ready, but their main fleet is approaching faster than predicted. Elias nodded slowly. Then it's time to remind them why humanity has survived for millennia. Across the colonies, humanity moved as one. Ships of every design, from the sleek orbital frigates of Mars to the massive terraforming cruisers of Earth, reconfigured themselves into defensive and offensive positions. Engineers and soldiers alike worked without hesitation, synchronizing movements across light years in perfect harmony. In orbit above New Caledon, Alaric Vale coordinated a multi-planetary strategy. Lyra Denholm's neural network simulated hundreds of possible outcomes, each more improbable than the last. But humanity's unpredictability was its greatest weapon. "They calculate linear responses," Lyra said, her eyes glinting with excitement. "We don't respond linearly. We evolve mid-battle, and evolve they did." The first shots rang out not with fire but with brilliance. Electromagnetic pulses bent the alien ship's sensors. Nanobot swarms disassembled critical systems before the aliens could react. Decoy satellites disguised as colonies forced alien weapons to fire harmlessly into the void. Every attack was met with a counterattack, fluid, creative, almost artistic in execution. Elias watched a squadron of human fighters loop through the alien formation, weaving through impossible gaps, striking where the aliens had assumed invulnerability. They expected fear, he muttered almost to himself. They found courage instead. On the ground, civilians witnessed flashes of alien energy and human ingenuity in the sky. Far from panic, there was wonder. Humanity was not merely surviving, it was performing. Each countermeasure, each daring maneuver became a story whispered across colonies, of humans who fought not because they had to, but because they were alive, brilliant, unstoppable. But the alien voice did not retreat. It resonated across communications, a chilling mixture of admiration and irritation. "You are unpredictable, frustrating, perhaps entertaining." Alaric smiled grimly. "Entertaining? Let them enjoy it while they can. Humanity's show is only beginning." As the battle intensified, the aliens adjusted, unleashing energy waves that disintegrated sections of Martian terrain. Fires erupted in colonies. Thousands of humans felt the sting of loss for the first time in centuries. Yet even in devastation, humanity's spirit shone. Rescue drones moved faster than the eye could follow. Engineers rebuilt defenses mid-assault. Soldiers protected civilians, and civilians fought back in their own ways, clever and determined. Elias clenched his fists. "They think destruction will intimidate us," he growled. "They think pain will break us. But they don't understand." He paused, watching a young pilot skillfully maneuver her fighter through impossible angles. Humanity thrives in adversity. By the end of the day, the first clash had reshaped the understanding of both species. The aliens had underestimated humanity's adaptability, ingenuity, and unwavering spirit. Humans had not merely survived, they had learned, adapted, and struck back with precision and creativity no prediction could anticipate. Night fell on New Caledon. Blood-red skies mirrored in the shattered surface of Mars. Across communication networks, humans exchanged messages not only of strategy, but of encouragement, unity, and quiet laughter. The galaxy had expected fear. It had received defiance. Elias Merrick stood again on his balcony looking at the stars, the remnants of alien ships scattering like shards of darkness. "They have underestimated us," he said softly. "And they will continue to." Alaric Vale joined him, voice calm yet resolute. 3 millennia of peace has taught humanity patience, wisdom, and creativity. Let them strike. Let them come. They will see what we are made of. And in that shared silence across planets and moons, a singular truth crystallized. Humanity was no longer merely a species in the galaxy. Humanity was a force brilliant, unyielding, and unstoppable. The war had begun, but the aliens had not yet glimpsed the full extent of what they had challenged. And humanity smiled. The alien fleet had expected obedience. They had expected fear. Instead, they found chaos, but the chaos was human. And humans, as they had learned over millennia, thrived in chaos. Commander Elias Merrick stood in the bridge of the flagship Aegis of Mars, scanning the galaxy's map. Red dots flickered, the scattered remnants of alien scouts, and green arcs marked human counterattacks in perfect synchrony. Humanity was no longer defending. Humanity was striking. Targeting grid updated, Lieutenant Cale Terran reported, voice tight with adrenaline. Our probes have located their command nodes. We can disrupt their fleet formations within hours. Elias nodded. Then we do exactly that. But carefully. We do not fight blindly, we fight smart. Remember, they think in patterns. We think in possibilities. Across the solar system, humans executed their first offensive beyond the defensive perimeter. Swarms of stealth drones, invisible even to the aliens' advanced sensors, zipped through voids, planting adaptive electromagnetic pulses on key vessels. Alien ships faltered, not from brute force but from ingenuity, humans exploiting weaknesses the invaders didn't know existed. In orbit around Europa, Dr. Selene Kaur watched the simulation unfold. They're brilliant, she whispered, eyes wide. Every strike is calculated yet unpredictable. They don't just adapt, they create solutions in real time. We've never seen anything like it. Lyra Denholm, monitoring the human fleet from New Caledon, nodded. This is why humans survived 3 millennia of peace. Peace taught them patience. Innovation taught them strategy. Now courage drives them. They're unstoppable. The aliens responded with overwhelming force. Energy beams tore through voids. Planetary shields flared and missiles streaked toward the colonies. Yet humanity moved like water, shifting, bending, flowing around obstacles. Ships dodged in perfect arcs. Countermeasures neutralized attacks before they could strike. Even when destruction occurred, humans rebuilt mid-battle, turning every loss into leverage. On Mars, Elias gritted his teeth as a section of the orbital ring took a direct hit. Flames licked the sky, but the crew's morale did not falter. Focus on adaptation, he shouted. Loss is temporary. Ingenuity is eternal. Meanwhile, across communications, the alien voice grew sharper, more frustrated. You are unpredictable. You are remarkable. Yet this will not last. Alaric Vale leaned back in the command chair of New Caledon's central network. They cannot comprehend what humans are, he said. Not truly. They see weapons, ships, formations, but they cannot see spirit. They cannot see heart. And that is our greatest advantage. As the battle extended across planets and moons, humans began striking alien supply lines, isolating command ships, and cutting off reinforcements before they could react. They fought not only with technology but with understanding, the psychology of the enemy, the art of anticipation, and the relentless creativity that had built civilizations from nothing. Elias watched the alien command vessel falter, its systems destabilizing from human interference. A quiet smile crept across his face. They expected fear, he murmured. They got war, human style. Even civilians participated, sending aid, repairing ships, and coordinating logistics with precision that rivaled military protocols. Humanity was not divided. It was united, a single organism of ingenuity, courage, and determination. By the end of the first offensive campaign, humanity had turned the tide. Alien scouts were destroyed, command nodes disabled, and their formations fractured. The invaders realized something profound. Humans did not fight by rules. Humans fought by instinct, intelligence, and willpower. The alien voice spoke again, strained now. You defy expectations. This cannot continue. Alaric Vale's response, calm and steady, echoed across the network. Expectations are irrelevant to humans. What matters is spirit, ingenuity, heart, and those are not things you can calculate. Night fell on Earth and Mars, but humanity did not rest. Across colonies, stations, and fleets, humans celebrated small victories, mourned losses, and planned the next steps. The war was far from over, but the first proof was undeniable. Humans could not only survive, they could dominate the encounter, not by overwhelming force alone, but by brilliance, courage, and creativity. Elias stood once more on the balcony of the Aegis of Mars, looking out at the stars. The alien fleet still loomed, but for the first time it trembled. not from fear but from respect. Humanity had made its statement clear. They were not to be underestimated. Alaric joined him via neural link, calm, resolute, eyes glowing faintly in reflection of the distant suns. "This is only the beginning," he said. "But they will remember this day. Humanity will not just fight. Humanity will endure. Humanity will win." And somewhere in the void, across fractured star systems, the alien commanders realized a terrifying truth. They had awakened a species that laughed in the face of annihilation, thrived amidst chaos, and fought with a brilliance beyond comprehension. The war had escalated, but humanity had already set the terms, and the galaxy would never forget it. Humanity's brilliance was no longer a secret. The galaxy had felt the sting of their defiance, the sharpness of their ingenuity and the unyielding resilience of their spirit. And yet, even as victories mounted, the cost was becoming real. On Mars, Commander Elias Merrick stood amidst the wreckage of a recently liberated orbital platform. Smoke curled in thin tendrils toward the crimson sky. The metallic scent of scorched machinery thick in the air. Casualties had been few, but each loss weighed like a stone. Humans had learned to fight, but they had also learned to feel. Lieutenant Cale Terran approached, his armor scarred but his eyes bright with determination. "We've disrupted their fleet patterns," he reported. "They're pulling back, reconfiguring. They're afraid." Elias allowed a faint smile. "Afraid, perhaps, but never satisfied. Fear does not govern them. They are relentless. But so are we." Across New Caledonia, Alaric Vale watched live feeds from multiple battlefronts. Lyra Denholm adjusted simulations, predicting alien movements with uncanny precision. "They've underestimated human creativity again," she said. "Every strategy we employ evolves faster than they can anticipate. They are learning, slowly, and humanity thrives on learning." The war had become a dance of intellect and spirit. Humanity's forces no longer reacted, they anticipated. Ships moved like living organisms, adapting in real time. Every strike was met with a counterstrike. Every maneuver anticipated with a human ingenuity that no algorithm could replicate. But it was not merely the technology or tactics that gave humanity the edge. It was the people themselves. On Europa, civilians operated drones that delivered critical supplies, repaired defenses, and even conducted reconnaissance. On New Caledonia, young pilots, barely 20, executed maneuvers that defied physics and reason. Guided by instinct honed over centuries of human survival, Elias stood on the balcony of the Aegis of Mars, watching alien vessels falter under human strategy. "Do they understand yet?" he muttered to himself. "Humanity is not just survival. Humanity is creation, adaptation, spirit. That is what they can never conquer." Alaric's voice came through the neural link. "They see our ships, our weapons, but they cannot see our hearts. They cannot see courage, ingenuity, or the unity that binds us. That is why we will win." The alien response was fragmented, almost dissonant. "You defy reason. You are resilient. Yet we will not falter." Elias shook his head, voice quiet but fierce. "You misunderstand. We do not falter. We endure. We adapt. We rise. And we will not stop." Human ingenuity reached new heights. Scientists on Mars and Earth combined nanotechnology with advanced AI, creating adaptive defense grids capable of learning from alien attacks in real time. Pilots devised tactics that no simulation could predict. Engineers reconstructed crippled stations within hours, turning losses into advantages. Every human loss, every scar became fuel for victory. In the midst of this, quiet moments of humanity shone brightest. On a small Martian outpost, a young medic cradled an injured child as the battle raged overhead. On Luna, siblings sent handmade messages to pilots mid-flight. On Earth, citizens built shelters for those displaced, sharing laughter and stories even as war threatened the stars. Humanity was not merely fighting, it was living, loving, and enduring. And in the void, the alien commanders began to grasp the truth that humans had always known. Victory was not won by weapons alone. Victory was won by heart, by spirit, by ingenuity beyond calculation. The alien fleet faltered under this realization. Their strikes became less precise, their formations hesitant. Humanity exploited every hesitation, turning retreat into opportunity, vulnerability into strength. Elias clenched his fists. "They are learning," he said softly, "but not fast enough. Humanity will always be one step ahead, one thought ahead, one heart ahead. Alaric smiled from New Caledon. And when this is over, the galaxy will know what we always knew. Humanity is not merely a species. Humanity is a force of nature, brilliant, relentless, and impossible to conquer. As the twin moons of New Caledon rose, casting pale silver light over the cities, humanity prepared for the next wave. They were battered, yes, but stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. The aliens had come to test humanity. They had thought to intimidate, to conquer, to break. Instead, they had awakened a storm, and storms once unleashed cannot be tamed. The galaxy held its breath. Across light years, across shattered fleets and rebuilt colonies, humanity prepared for the final confrontation. The aliens had underestimated the one thing no calculation could anticipate, the human spirit. Commander Elias Merrick stood on the bridge of the Aegis of Mars, looking out at the alien command fleet now gathered near Jupiter. Their formation was flawless, their power immense, yet humanity had a secret weapon far more potent than technology: resolve. Status, he demanded. Lieutenant Cale Terran's voice was steady, but excitement threaded through it. All human fleets synchronized, shields reinforced, offensive drones at peak capacity. Their formation is vulnerable in the center. We can strike decisively. Elias's gaze hardened. Then we show them what humans are made of. Across New Caledon, Alaric Vale coordinated every planetary defense grid, every fleet, every orbital station. Lyra Denholm's neural network had evolved beyond simulations, predicting alien movements almost before they occurred. They cannot adapt fast enough, she said. Every choice they make has already been anticipated and countered. The final strike began with a silence that was almost sacred. Humans moved as one, a force of intellect, courage, and unity. Ships darted like lightning. Energy pulses cut through alien shields, and adaptive drones dismantled enemy weapons in seconds. Each maneuver was precise, creative, and audacious. Humanity had not merely learned to fight, it had mastered the art of war. Elias watched as alien ships faltered under attacks they could not comprehend. They expected obedience, he whispered. They found brilliance. They expected fear. They found courage. They expected calculation. They found chaos. And chaos in humanity's hands became victory. The alien command vessel, once a symbol of terror, now struggled to maintain formation. Its energy grids flickered. Its weapons misfired. And humanity pressed forward, not recklessly but with careful, unstoppable determination. Alaric Vale's voice echoed across networks. The galaxy has underestimated humans for centuries. Not anymore. Humanity is not merely survival, it is evolution, creativity, and unbreakable spirit. Even in moments of triumph, humans remembered their own vulnerability. Pilots mourned fallen comrades, engineers grieved destroyed stations, and civilians rebuilt homes in the middle of chaos. Every loss fueled determination, every challenge sparked ingenuity. Humanity was alive in every sense of the word, and the universe could feel it. The alien voice came one last time, strained and trembling. Impossible. You cannot endure. Elias's smile was quiet, almost gentle. Endure? We do more than endure. We rise, we thrive, and we never forget who we are. With a coordinated strike from every fleet, humanity delivered a blow that shattered the alien command structure. Alien vessels scattered, their formations broken, their technology overwhelmed by the unpredictable genius of human tactics. The galaxy had witnessed a force unlike any other, a species whose strength was not just in power, but in heart. As silence fell over the battlefield, humanity looked to the stars, not with fear but with awe. They had faced annihilation, stared into the void, and emerged unbroken. Humanity had won, not because they had weapons, or numbers or luck, but because they had spirit, creativity, and an unyielding will to survive and thrive. On the surface of New Caledon, children laughed as auroras lit the sky. Soldiers returned to their families. Engineers rebuilt, and leaders, both young and old, breathed in the calm after the storm. Humanity had changed the galaxy forever. Elias stood one last time on the Aegis of Mars, looking at the distant alien remnants drifting into the void. They came to conquer us, he said softly. But they learned the truth: humanity does not bow. Humanity does not fear. Humanity creates, endures, and rises, always. Alaric Vale's final message echoed across planets and moons. To the galaxy, let it be known. Earth and its children do not tremble. We are humanity. We endure, we thrive, and no force in the universe can silence us. And somewhere in the endless black, the remnants of the alien fleet drifted, humbled, aware that they had challenged a species unlike any they had ever encountered. Humanity had not merely survived, it had transformed the war into a testament, a declaration and a story for the stars. The war was over. The galaxy had witnessed the truth. Humanity laughed, not with arrogance, not with cruelty, but with joy, relief, and unshakable pride. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. 3 millennia of peace had not weakened them. It had prepared them to shine when the darkness came. And as the twin moons of New Caladan bathed the cities in silver light, humanity knew the unshakable truth. They were not merely survivors. They were creators. They were conquerors of impossibility. They were human, and the universe would never forget it.